I show you how to make fast, simple homemade meals you can make in advance, put in your freezer and use whenever you want. But today I am with the lovely Harriet Busby. Harriet is the owner of Border Berries fruit farm in the Scottish Borders, and today we are talking about how to freeze fruit, the sort of correct way to freeze it. If you've got a big glut, if you've got extra stuff, if you've been out fruit picking, what do we do, Harriet?
So we have some freshly washed strawberries here. Now, to keep them in the freezer, the best way to deal with them is to hull them. I've got some hullers here. You can perfectly easily use your own finger and thumb.
So a huller is like a little tweezer, and you can use it or you can just pull, but hullers do work the best if you've got one.
They're great because they take the core out without you leaving a big ugly slice, which leaves the core inside it, so is only half good. So this is a giant strawberry. It looks delicious, Suzanne, doesn't it?
It does.
So I'm going to cut this one in half, and I'm going to lay it out on a baking dish that can go in the freezer. Now, not all your strawberries will be giant. Here's a small one. This one's fine as it is. It's perfectly okay to go in the freezer as it is.
Okay, so we're chopping big ones, and small ones we're just leaving whole.
That's right.
Perfect, because this one would take ages to freeze if we left it like this. And we have to make sure when we wash them that we've dried them off, because you don't want to be putting in damp fruit. You should always wash them, but make sure that they're really dry.
You can lay them out on a tea towel, one layer thick, just to dry them off quickly. Now, the fresher and tastier your strawberries are when they go in the freezer, the better they are when they come out the other end. The other reason that we slice the strawberry is if this gets used in a smoothie mix, your blender is really going to struggle with a giant frozen blob like that, whereas a sliced up strawberry is manageable.
Great top tip. I love that, because my kids use frozen berries for smoothies all the time, and I wouldn't have thought about that, and it is hard in a blender. Perfect. So we then lay them out. They then go in the freezer for what, 2 to 4 hours?
That would be about right. You can check on your freezer. They don't need to be frozen solid, just nice and robust so they're not going to stick together.
Yeah, so you don't want to leave them on the tray because they're going to get some freezer burn. So what you want to make sure you do is after 2 to 4 hours with these strawberries is just bag them up, get them in a labelled bag and put them back in your freezer. And then what are we doing with the raspberries?
So the raspberries are easier to deal with. They often come in these shallow punnets that are just one berry deep. And that is perfect for freezing exactly as it is, because they will come out of the freezer and they'll be separate berries. You don't want one frozen lump. That's what freezing carefully is all about, making sure your berries are individually frozen. And if you want to, at the other end, you can actually defrost them as a whole berry like that and use it as a whole berry. But they are totally ready to go in the freezer just as they are.
Perfect. So guys, this is just about making sure that you don't end up with one huge lump of a raspberry that's about that big that you can use it with nothing. You're freezing separately and then you're able to bag it up. So I'll quickly show you what we're doing once our ones, because we've already had ones in the freezer. Here's ones that we did earlier. Okay, so our fruit is out of the freezer now. You are going to use either a reusable bag or another bag that you have. You can put them into portions if you want to, if you're doing these smoothie bags for the kids. It's entirely up to you. Or you can have it in one huge big like IKEA bag and you can just scoop out whatever you want. So berries are frozen, looking good. So I'll start by putting a few in, and then we're just going to tip them in. That is your bag that can be in the freezer. Now Harriet, we've got teenagers, both you and I. What are we going to do to make a quick smoothie either in the morning or after school?
My kids absolutely love to delve into the freezer, fish out a bag of fruit, and they take if you've got a NutriBullet at home, it's a brilliant use of one of those, or any kind of blender, stick blender, anything. So I use a cup of berries, popped into there, and then Suzanne's going to peel me half a banana. So there's a cup of mixed berries, that's about right, half a banana into there, a quick bit of orange juice, and stick the lid on. I do this a lot in my cafe. Hand.
I know Harriet's got a cool cafe here, guys.
So there we go, and then we're going to blitz that, and just for however long, and it's going to be ready.
Go.
I know that sounds like a long time, but you do get lumps in frozen fruit, so it is important to make sure it's lovely and smooth, because it's a smoothie, not a lumpy.
Oh, I like that. It's a smoothie, not a lumpy. Guys, look at that. So many people are often asking me about healthy stuff for teenagers that can just grab. You couldn't get healthier than that. An amazing smoothie made with frozen fruit. if you are picking fruit this summer, if you've got excess fruit and you don't know what to do with it, get it in the freezer. Use it with stuff like this. Get the kids eating healthy. It's perfect. Okay, so we have chatted about strawberries and raspberries and showing you how to do a quick smoothie. That's an easy one. Now we want to talk about other frozen fruit. And this is where, literally, Harriet, I don't really know. We're going to talk about Tayberries. What is a Tayberry? Let's just start there.
Well, a Tayberry is a modern invention. It's a cross between a raspberry and a blackberry. Its flavour is fantastic when cooked, but really I wouldn't recommend eating it fresh. It tastes quite bitter, but it's a very strong flavour when cooked. It's brilliant in crumbles and pies and tarts. And in my cafe, I add it to brownie mix. So any brownie mix, just tumble some Tayberries in,
nice.
and it's got a real tangy lift to it. So they're fantastic. They have their little hull in the middle that stays there. That's the plug, we call it. It stays there. They're great to use straight from the freezer.
Do you have to pull that little bit out? No,
No.
they just stay in there, you just eat it?
It's not like a raspberry in that sense. It's like a blackberry, so that stays in the middle.
Okay,
so it's
perfect.
all good to go.
So yeah, they are just good to freeze, just like that. I really never knew. People used to say Tayberries, I never knew what they were. Brilliant. Right now we're moving on to these black currants.
Black currants. So these black currants have been picked and they've been frozen with their stalks on and their leaves. So you need to get rid of those before you're going to make it into anything. Now, it's quite easy to take them off when they're frozen. So we're just going to pop some of these in. The stalks come off quite easily. Hand them into there. And we've also got some red currants. These have been cleaned up, which is handy. They come on long strings, so you can pop those in. These are very sharp and bitter, as almost everybody knows. So we're going to have make a little bit of a mixed bag here, because this is dead handy for putting into cakes and baking. Putting into a blondie mix, you could do the mixed berries. So we're going to chuck them all into a freezer bag together. They're fantastic in crumbles. If you add have an apple crumble and you want to give it a little lift, you could sprinkle some of these berries on. You don't need many of them. A little goes a long way because they're such strong flavours.
So if we are picking these, we want to really hull them probably before you go to freeze them like this. And you don't need to freeze them flat, do you?
No.
Have you just thrown them in this bag and frozen them like that?
They've just been thrown into the bag like that because they're quite a dry little round currant, so they're completely fine as they are. And Tayberries you freeze just like a raspberry, so in a shallow punnet. But they don't tend to stick together too much. The key thing about this berry mix, Suzanne, is that they are not tasty in a smoothie. Really, they're a little bit too woody. The pips inside a Tayberry they're a bit kind of chunky and woody, and they're quite tangy. So they really respond well to being baked and put into delicious puddings and pies and tarts and crumbles.
Brilliant, because that's what I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I'm fine with the smoothie mix, but like I would let my kids put that into a smoothie and wouldn't have thought about it. But you're right, it is all quite sort of like got bits in it and that. But so we could go picking all this stuff, freeze it up, and then there are our bags ready that we can just put our hand in, make a crumble.
Yep.
Make a pie.
It's just, and as I say, a little goes a long way. So that'll last you for ages because you just need a few of them.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I am loving this. We're learning tons about picking fruit, about how to freeze it, different things you can do with it. You are a wealth of knowledge. Thank you very much, Harriet. Do come and visit us at Border Berries in the Scottish Borders. Come and pick some of your own fruit. I will be here all summer with my kids. It's a brilliant thing to do with kids. You get a day out. You get your kids to sort of run around and have great fun. You can have a picnic. There's a cafe here, amazing cakes as well. And then you get to have lots of lovely produce that you can take home. And it doesn't just have to last a day or two. Get it in your freezer and you will be eating it for weeks and months to go. So yeah, give it a go. Thanks for watching this film. Thank you very much, Harriet. And please do follow me on social media on @TheBatchLady. Speak to you soon. Bye.